What up, people? Welcome back to the Eternal Weekend North America Legacy Championship. I'm Kai Savatari, joined by Julian Nubb. And
Hey.
we are here for the 5th round of this Legacy main event. I'm so excited. We saw a lot of crazy action in the previous rounds, and there's gonna be like a lot more after this.
Yeah, there's gonna be so much more, right? We have 11 rounds total. We have over 5,000 Legacy matches to be played. Let's thank the people who make this work. Not only Card Titan here, they're gonna bring us a discount of 10% with code Eternal Weekend 2023 until the end of the month, as well as Game Genique with another discount of 10%. Use the same code until the end of this weekend. Also, big thank you to NCD, MTG, and everybody watching this. So we're super pumped. This is going to be Kai's and my last run for the day. We're going to be back tomorrow as we head into a match of Theo Young, one of, I want to say, not even any more up and coming, right? Theo has very much made a name for himself in the North American Legacy scene, doing really well there. And he's going up against William Nemerov on 5-color control. Dude, that's the fullest of commitments possible, right? Most people run 4 colors. Sometimes you dip into the 5th color, and yeah, that's the lifestyle that William has committed to. On the other side, Theo running his trusty Grixis Diver, quote unquote, as people sometimes call it, like the Honda Civic or like the most reliable deck in the format. I think the cool thing to do is playing Ruck Delver now, right, Kai? I don't know,
Yeah, totally.
But like, Theo very much trusting Grixis Delver, and certainly one of the best decks you can bring to this tournament here.
Yeah, like Delver decks have changed a little bit, control decks have changed also a little bit, but this is a classic tempo versus control matchup. Like, this is like one of the most fun things to watch in all of Legacy, I want to say, because there will be a lot of interaction on both sides, right? Theo, on the one hand, will try to basically out-tempo William with a lot of cheap threats, Wastelands, Dazes, additional reach with Lightning Bolts. And William, on the other hand, is gonna aim for that long game, right? With Uros, with Tribe of St. Catherine, really interesting card choice in this deck. Makes a lot of sense because they're also up the beanstalks. A lot of removal, and the crazy finisher, 4th Eolingers. So,
Yeah.
what do you think,
This
Julian? This is gonna be exciting.
Yeah, you already mentioned, right? This is one of the classic matchups in the history of Legacy. Whether we go back to Fledgling Dragon fighting against maybe Macroma's Wrath in the very early days of the format, all the way to Dragon Rage Channel going up against Supreme Verdict. This is one of the mainstay matchups. The cards have changed, the strategies have stayed the same, and I wish somebody once made a documentary about the history and the art of playing tempo versus control decks. And you look at this, look at Theo. Like, Theo is not afraid. Theo deploys 3 creatures very early on. Doesn't really have Delirium yet and not a Flip Delver, but that's really only a matter of time. And William is just like biding his time, just sitting there, hasn't decided to cast a spell yet. Isn't really into that. Okay, making some changes. By the way, are those Drowned Gods, like House Greyjoy sleeves? Have you watched Game of Thrones?
Oh no, I have yet to watch it. Unfortunately,
you say you have never watched it. Okay, we can't grab. Okay, if you use both fetch lands, that works for sure. Okay, very untouchable mana base there. And that's already, dude, by the way, if this is a literal 5-color control deck and we still commit to basic lands, I love that. I guess Island and Plains, the most important ones. But nobody has yet built a control deck with like all basic lands and fetch lands, right? That will be the next level. Oh, I see what's coming.
So
I see what's coming. I did not see what's coming. I thought it was going to be Orcish Bowmasters.
And I thought there was a up the beanstalk, but interesting. Okay, so we were both wrong. It was a leyline binding here. It will cost William a lot of resources because it got countered by Force Wheel for 0 mana, and Bayou might also get wastelanded.
Yeah, William already knows, right? Whichever like dual land you're gonna play, there's a very high chance it's actually gonna be wastelanded there. I think Theo was more willing to use that Force of Will there because of the 2 triggers that he's gonna get off the Dragon Rage channels. I think in the grand scheme of things, he really doesn't mind like trading 1-for-1, especially with William committing like 2 mana to it. But right now, he just wants to get Delirium and finish the game really quickly. Top card being kept on top by Theo, so you already knew the Delver was not gonna flip. I think that was the Bauble that we deploy here while filling the graveyard even further. Nope, Ponder, we don't want that. I think that might already be Delirium, right?
Yeah, we got instant sorcery, land, and artifact.
That's 7 damage.
Yeah, aiming for that quick lock.
Okay. Putting William... Okay, no, going back up to 8. So William is not exactly dead yet, unless Diver flips, which is like very likely. They're conferring life totals, I guess. Is it actually 8? Is it not 7? Because that would be a huge difference. Better take your time. Make sure whether the opponent's gonna get another turn or not. I would assume that Theo is gonna take out the Bayou here, just like constrict. Oh, even up to 9. Okay, as we keep waiting, William might have some, some passive ability, like some kind of token emblem, a planeswalker emblem. We went from 7 to 8 to 9. We will see how that works. I think we're gonna take out the Bayou here, and the difference between 8 and 9 doesn't really matter all that much, right?
Yeah. So like William is under a lot of pressure early on. He's still like, even if the Bayou gets Wasteland, he does have a few outs. There are still like Swords of Plowshares are left in the deck. Leyline Binding, maybe if he gets to gets the mana right. But there are also 2 copies of Triumph of St. Catherine. Now, this card is very castable under basic Plains and Basic Island.
But it really only does something if the Diver doesn't flip, right? I think you actually want the one of Terminus from the top here.
Oh, Terminus would be probably the best draw. Is it gonna be no?
There's a world where you just like cycle the Uro, and then Theo might actually be incentivized to daze that if he has the ability to do that. So he's got a really good chance of both flipping the Diver and still keeping the 1-turn kill alive.
That's a good point. Like, yeah, William can Uro into Swords of Plowshares, for example, getting 3 life here, stabilizing a little bit, but he's still like under a lot of pressure, and I think it probably has to be Swords of Plowshares exactly.
And now we see why the Force of Early On made a lot of sense, because this way we are really trying to close the game in a single extra swing. Now we can't really do that unless there's maybe Lightning Bolt involved, which I don't really... could be, can't really tell. As you mentioned, what William wants to do is deploy a land, have a Swords of Plowshares. Okay, step 1. Is there gonna be swords? No. Diver, not gonna flip, so we only present 7 points of damage here, taking William down to 1 life. Still pretty important, cuts him off from any future fetch lands, cuts him off from Force of Will, but he does not have the ability to cast Uro from the graveyard yet. I was gonna say, if he had that ability, he can overcome the problem of being on 1 life, but facing down all of those creatures, he literally needs Supreme Verdict or Terminus, and I'm not even sure. No, he's not even playing Supreme Verdict. So yeah, it's gotta be the one of Terminus here. Let's see.
William counting his mana. Like, escaping Uro is a start, but not sure if that's good enough.
Yeah, I think they forgot to update the life total. William should be at 1 point of life. Now he's gonna go with the Uro cycled, and Theo at this point, I'm pretty sure that's gonna be a Bowmaster, right?
Oh, a lethal Orcish Bowmaster?
It might.
Oh, dude, I'm here for this. I'm here for this. You know, Orcish Bowmasters killing creatures is one thing, but killing players is a completely different thing, right? Different story.
Okay, looks like the life totals were actually correct then, if he's going down to 7 now. We'll see how that works. Okay. So, Uro hopefully gonna make you draw into any kind... Like, at this point, you're grasping for interaction, right? You really need some kind of interaction, otherwise you're just gonna be overrun by all of these tiny little creatures, and it just wasn't enough. Theo Young taking a very, very quick first game. William, it's kind of interesting, right? William didn't really struggle. He made his land drops, he played spells, but Theo just played a whole lot more than him. Sometimes that's just like the easy key to victory. As I say, easy, like certainly not easy in that sense. Okay, so let's take a look at the sideboard. Ooh, I see something interesting there. We are up against a 5-color control deck, and like, check this out. The cheeky little Theo Young. Look at that guy. 2 copies of Price of Progress. Is that how it's gonna end?
Oh, they better deal like at least 14 points of damage, maybe 16 or so.
Yeah, he already brought in 2 copies, right? You saw that. They're already in the main deck. We're taking out 4 lightning bolts. Makes a lot of sense. That's not really... And you don't want to be the guy caught bolting, let's say... I'm even trying to figure out what we can. I guess we can bolt Bowmasters, but that's not the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other ways around that, I guess. He's got Molten Collapse, by the way. That's a card. Like just another week ago, people were making fun of the card on my Twitter feed, but honestly, the card is real. I've played against it a couple of times in Magic Online, and it can be so annoying. It can actually like swing a game entirely around for just 2 mana. So let's see whether that card is gonna carry.
Totally. It's the new Terminate basically with a little bit of upside if you use the Descent.
Yeah, it's
mechanic.
probably not going to be that great in this kind of matchup because I don't really think there's too much you can really take out from William's side of the board. Like the most common target would be a Carpet of Flowers, so maybe Theo is going to anticipate those. We will see.
Yeah. That'd be like a big victory though. Like if you can take down like a creature plus Carpet of Flowers, that'd be kind of insane. The 5-color control deck in the sideboard has in fact the 2 Carpet of Flowers. Hydroblast probably gonna come in. Endurance probably gonna come in. Veil of Summer maybe. So not so sure about Leovold, Emissary of Trest. It's a little hard on the mana, right? Like getting Sultai mana online is kind of a luxury sometimes. You don't always get it. So like the Leovold might be a card that you want if you're already ahead, which I'm not a big fan of, I think.
Yeah. What about Powder Keg? How do you like Powder Keg in the matchup?
Oh, that yeah. If Theo always slams 2 or 3 one drops, then definitely.
Yeah. Well, that used to be one of my favorite cards, right? When we got the World Championship decks in like 1998, 1999, that you could buy, like those gold bordered ones, I saw Powder Keg in every single deck, and back then I didn't even like remotely understand competitive Magic, and I just thought, why would you put that in there? That's so slow. You can just like play Terminate, Terror and stuff. So, yeah, here we are 20 years later, and I'm still like looking at the cards. I'm like, whoa, it's something. Okay, Theo continues where he left off in the last game, and that is by making 1-mana creatures, while William deploys his Tri-Home here, going for the Ponder. I mean, Tri-Homes, you probably don't want to lead on them if your opponent made a turn 1 creature. On the other hand, like if you can get them down early when you didn't really have a turn 1 play anyway, I guess it makes sense. And I mean, we are still talking about a 5-mana deck here, a 5-color deck here, so you gotta pay some respect to your mana base. Another 1-mana creature here. What do we see on William's side of the board? William's gonna crack a fetch land here. Is that gonna be the Beanstalk that you predicted in the early game and I thought was gonna be a Bowmaster?
Yeah, it could also be an Uro. I think I just spotted like an Uro in the hand.
Also reasonable.
Yeah, like especially like Dragon's Way Chandler, it's a 1/1. Like there are no cards in graveyard, so it's also not too unreasonable for William to just chill and maybe just pass the turn after deploying a land, maybe. But obviously, you never want to say no to an Uro, I think.
Because you like, never want to say no to Uro. Good, dude. That's like, some t-shirt in the making.
It's the ultimate cantrip, right? It's a 3-mana cantrip that gives you some life. Oh, this is like the first real like banger card.
Yeah, and you hate to see that, right? From the Davos. Like I've played plenty of Dava, and this is one of the cards you absolutely hate to see. This is the worst thing that can happen to you. Sometimes it invalidates your entire rest of your hand. And Theo very quick to just like falsify that one. Also, by the way, I really like how William has decided early on, okay, this is the kind of game where I fetch almost exclusively non-basic lands. Because I think one of the biggest mistakes is where you like go middle of the road, right? You fetch a couple of like 2 basics and then you start going non-basic. So your opponent all of a sudden can still cut you off colors. Whereas if you like fully commit to the non-basics, a lot of times your opponents are gonna have a much harder time actually cutting you off color. So you gotta figure out, is this like a tempo game where I really need my lands to stay in play? Is this the kind of game where like having access to all my colors is more important? And then there's of course a couple of cases in between. And I guess that's part of the art of not only constructing a mana base, but also properly deploying it.
Good point. So Theo here, completely in the driver's seat here, has exactly what tempo decks used to do. Cheap counters, wastelands, a fast clock. The Dragon's Way Channel is still a 1/1.
Yeah, and Theo's like, this is basically where you want to be, right? You exhausted most of your resources, but all of them did, as we talked about Powder Keg earlier, that card was probably printed before Theo was born. But he checks it out, he knows exactly what's going on there. And I think you must force that one, right? That's just like no way you let this sit. As I talk about like how Theo is in exactly the kind of spot you want to be, like you've deployed all your resources along a single strategy, which is right here, being super aggressive while protecting your creatures. But with William still at 14, Theo knows that he's probably not gonna get there in time. But if he lets Powder Keg resolve, it's gonna be even harder for him to get there. So you know that feeling, right? When you play Delver and you feel like you have to really exhaust your resources too early in the game, and you think it's not gonna like carry you across the line. And I think that might be the spot Theo is in right now. Even though he's got a lot of pressure and he might very well take the game, I still don't completely hate William's position.
Yeah, it's tough. Like this Delver and the Dragon Rage Chandler, they have to deliver now because Theo is out of nearly out of cards, and William has an Uro up the beanstalk, Leovold too. As I mentioned earlier, like the Uro, the Leovold, nice to have, but it doesn't stabilize the board right here. Like it doesn't have reach or flying
problems, right?
Exactly.
That's the best way to put it.
But this Uro is huge for William. This is absolutely huge. Okay.
Basically just like trying to daze it so we can scry.
Yeah, scry one. Theodore might look for like cantrips to go find like a Price of Progress. That would be kind of devastating. I think that it's lethal already. In combination with Delver and Dragon's Rage Chandler.
Yeah, so let's say William goes to like 12 and Price of Progress takes him down 2, 4, 6, 8 plus 6. Yeah, that's 14. That would be good enough. I think at this point, Theo wants to like basically bin every card that's not Price of Progress. I'm curious which other card he might consider like keeping on top. Maybe Pyroblast, so he can stop a like Uro coming back. I would think it's either like Brainstorm, Pyroblast, Price of Progress, maybe a Wasteland to try to cut William off of like casting Uro, but he might not be sure whether that would even work. Like if you had like Wasteland Days, you could try to do that, but I think he doesn't have anything else.
Yeah, good point.
Okay.
Oh wow, and he bins the Orcish Bowmasters.
I think that's what was that Triumph of St. Catherine that we drew of the Uro?
I think so. Yeah, it's the one timing that's really bad for the card, right? Like you're supposed to miracle it.
Yeah. Okay, William, very quick to untap here. I think he drew a Leyline. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is. Can we cast this? The Endurance? I think we might have enough mana to do that, right? That's a Chant Tri-Home, I believe.
No, it's Xander's launch, so this is Grixis.
So we're actually lacking the second green.
Yeah,
there.
William is short on green mana and also doesn't have any white mana, I think.
Well, they call it a 5-color deck for a reason.
Yeah.
Doesn't always come together. Like with great power comes great vulnerability in Legacy, of course. Definitely. And with a handful of white cards and a layer white that doesn't really help him, this might be an early exit to at least this round for William. We will see. Is that we talked about how Leerwald didn't really solve the problem. Theo is thrilled there, right? I think he picked up that one. Okay, I thought it was gonna be a Wasteland. What didn't we talked about this earlier and I kept forgetting about what it does. It's the Molten Collapse, right? That's the one.
Molten Collapse, yeah. It's choose one if you descended this turn. You may choose both. And it says like destroy target creature or planeswalker, or destroy target non-creature, non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less.
It looks like he actually did pick up the Wasteland, so he had both. We take out. Actually, kind of curious, right? You just like William got to draw a card because we took out the.
Yeah, check this out. This is crazy. Like William on this 5-color deck loses with only Grixis mana. No green, no white. Man, and Theo takes it down in like really old school fashion. You know, just fast beats. The Wastelands were pointed exactly where it hurts the most. Green and white mana. And William, despite his late game bombs like Uro and removal, like just couldn't get there. Congratulations, Theo, on a 5-0. 5-0 is a solid start for a large tournament like this.
Yeah. Awesome. So with this matchup very quickly in the books, we're going to go to over to our backup match, where we got Cameron Wisniewski going up against Cole Gable. Cameron here on a very, very interesting recent addition to the format, I want to say, that's Forge combo, going up against Absent Depth. So Kai, have you played your fair share of Mythic Forge combo decks yet, or do you still have a lot of homework to do on those? Because those almost feel like vintage at times when I get to play against
them. Did you watch the vintage Jewel Sharps deck from that performed so well yesterday? Also,
I watched a bit of it. Yeah.
It put us some number of players into the top 8 too. This is the legacy version, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have Mishra's Workshop, but we have Ancient Tombs, which is kind of
almost the same thing. Honestly, though, sometimes Tomb is actually better at times. But yeah, this is completely broken. Like this deck, I've been turn 2 killed by this deck plenty of times. So what this deck is aiming to do is, like, you put a bunch of mana rocks into play, and then at some point you just want to resolve your Paradox Engine, which is going to make it so that, like, all of your stuff untaps whenever you play a spell. And with that and the One Ring and a bunch of, like, other untap effects, let's say Manifold Key, Voltaic Key and stuff, this deck can get completely knocked out by Collector Oof. Dude, this is probably the single most vulnerable deck in the entire history of the format to Collector Oof. And look at Cole. Cole get this turn 2. Ice Cold Killer. Yeah. Here we go. Wait, is this? Oh, this is already post-board. For a second, I was like, whoa, what's going up there? Okay, so this is against a Masticore. Usually a card that you have in the sideboard. As we are in game 3, the final game of the matchup, Against a Masticore is one of the ways that you can still actually hang and play the game whenever your opponent has, like, completely devastating hate, like Nilrod or Collector Oof. So this one, in the tradition of Masticores, all on your upkeep, you actually have to sacrifice it unless you discard a card. And on the upside, if you do discard a card this way, you get to destroy target non-land permanent that has the mana value of the discarded card. I think it's equal. Yeah, I think it's got to be exactly equal. So if you have, let's say, a Grim Monolith, you could actually discard that one and take out Collector Oof, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's actually one of the coolest ways to deal with hate while also killing your opponent.
Yeah. 5 mana, 5/5, first strike, protection from multicolored. Really interesting. It's one of the new cards. Like, everyone who remembers, like, the OG Masticore knows that, like, in the upkeep there's some sort of cost to this card, right? Like, be it like discarding something, you know, making your lives harder. But, like, it's 2023 and cards don't necessarily only have downsides.
Yeah.
Anymore.
This one actually it destroys something like of equal or even like less mana cost. So completely going nuts there. We see 2 copies of the One Ring. Gonna take out one of them, but Masticore next turn is still gonna be able to take out the Collector Oof in case Cameron even wants to do that. I'm not even sure. Like, maybe he's fully committed to the Masticore life. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. We're gonna check out the Collector Oof. Looks like we're back. Awesome. So looks like Masticore is so broken, it not only killed the Collector Oof, it also killed part of the stream for a couple of seconds, but regenerated back into this match. As we see Collector Oof being taken out, but now Masticore has a new nemesis. Masticore has to go up against Knight of Reliquary, which it can literally just attack past. Like, protection from multicolor doesn't come up all that often, but if you are up against Alara block cards, it might as well be protection from everything. So
it's
let's
just
see how
really,
this works.
it's just really nice to see that. Like, this is a potential win condition. Like a 5/5 protection cannot be blocked by neither reliquary. Might be like a real card.
The thing is, like, Cameron is so low, and we can't really see how many lands there are in the graveyard for Cole. It might not be too many. So let's say this is like a 4/4 Knight or something. There's a real world that Cameron gets raised in, especially since he already has like a One Ring on 2. Look at this. Okay, we're gonna go for Karn, Thomas Script nuking the graveyard, keeping the Knight small, and just hoping that our Masticore is gonna get there. Oh, by the way, as we talk about all of this, there's also a giant orc army on the side. This is gonna be rough for Camerons, who also probably won't be able to use his lands all that much here. That one's cool though.
Okay, special
graveyard.
special contortion. 2 mana target creature gets +3, -3 until end of turn. That was like a 2-card combo. Thomas Crypt plus that card to kill the Knight of the Reliquary.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden I can't really tell you who's winning. Like, you would think Cameron is in a decent position, but if Cold can just sit there and maybe jump block just ever so much, he might just have enough. Ooh, Force of Vigor! Taking out the Masticore, taking out the Mox Opal, leaving Cameron with a bunch of like Ancient Tombs he doesn't really want to use, and being put under a clock from his own The One Ring.
This is really nice. I really like this attack, not on Karn the Great Creator, but on Cameron's life total instead. Like, there are a couple of Ancient Tombs on the field, right? And the One Ring, and phew. Yeah. This will be a close one.
We probably couldn't have casted Force of Vigor, we just noticed, because of the Mox Diamond, but it is what it is right now. Both players missed it. The game continues from there. Cameron tries to find something, as he probably drops to 8 life, I would guess, with the One Ring, drew 3 extra cards. He needs mana, and he needs mana fast. Like, he's in an almost commanding position, except for the annoying orc army that's sitting over there. But you kind of want to get rid of your own ring, right? Kai, how do we get rid of our ring? Is there a way to do it?
We can play another one if you want to.
Okay. I guess we could like animate it with Karn and then just like try to jump block the orc, or like straight up block the orc army, but Cole might not attack into it. I mean, it's tapped already, so that plan doesn't really work.
That's fair. There is another copy of the One Ring in Cameron's hand.
Ooh, dude, Cameron's like, no, I'm going to win.
We could also try to win, yeah.
Extension. But wait, you know another name I've heard for this card, for this deck? 8-key.
8-key.
I don't know if that's a common name, especially since this one is only playing 7 keys, but I kind of like it.
Okay. Not 8 cost, 8-key. All right.
Yeah. And you mentioned, okay, another ring. The least flavorful thing you could ever do, you play ring into ring, but you know what? I think there's like, you're not a Lord of the Rings fan, right? Actually, there are multiple rings. Maybe not multiple rings of power, but I think humans got like 12 or something, and Cameron is very clearly a human. Cole is just passing, I guess.
Oh, no. You can still kill the Karn. Oh, no.
Yeah, the Orc army hasn't attacked last turn either.
Okay.
Not sure what's happening there.
Yeah. But usually, like, you gain protection for a whole turn, but your plane focus can still be attacked.
It's the old propaganda problem, where people think, oh, propaganda makes... no, you can still attack planeswalkers.
It's maybe not as intuitive sometimes, because people might just still think that you cannot be attacked. Let's see how this is gonna go here.
Cameron probably pretty happy about this turn of events. Dude, honestly, like, the ring is kind of cool, because we see all of these games. I mean, probably not this one now that we found the second one, but having to make that balance, finding the balance, the decision between how many cards do I draw, how greedy do I get, how quickly can I get my payoff before the ring is gonna take me away. Finding that balance, I love that. Like, people making decisions under pressure it's just one of the greatest things to watch on any kind of broadcast, whether it's Magic, sports, anything really.
Yeah, totally. Like, this City of Traitors has to do a lot of work. The Ancient Tombs, you kind of wanna put them in brackets, right? Like they kind of don't exist anymore. So you operating on very few mana sources here. And every key that untaps Grim Monolith would be welcome. Any Grim Monolith would be welcome.
This is so tight, right? You can't use your ring anymore. You can't use your lands. I think the deck doesn't have any way to gain life except, sometimes it's win condition. What's the one called? The one thing that keeps getting counters as you gain life. That, yeah, Reservoir, right? Etherflux Further Bar. That's the one that helps you. But it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, good
I
point.
think players are trying to figure out what's going to happen in the next turn or so. We untap the ring. Can somebody help me out? How did we lose our Orc army there? I guess, oh, I see. Okay, I see. I think the Orc army attacked there, and then Cameron untapped the ring and blocked because he had animated the ring with Karn. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And the ring itself is indestructible. That's why it stays. Okay. It all makes sense now to me. Okay, cool stuff. Assassin's Trophy taking out the untapped Grim Monolith, constricting Cameron's mana even further. Cameron's like, what? No, man. I want my mana. I need to do something.
Like Cole might have been looking for the Dark Depths to finally make that 2020 token, but maybe that's just not necessary for this game. Like Cameron is almost killed himself with his own one ring.
But he's about to. He literally needs to find another ring here, and otherwise the game is probably over. He can try to draw. Okay, he's not drawing another card with the ring, so that tells me he probably found another ring. Or any way to not lose the game next turn. But that's... Oh, Paradox Engine, we're going into it, dudes!
Oh my goodness,
we're going off. Paradox Engine, sacrificing the Karn to get Mox Opal. That's going to untap all of our stuff again. And we can find so many more cards. Okay, this is what you play the deck for, right?
Damn,
this is where you go completely crazy. Just float all the mana. I think Cameron has literally evaded defeat with the thinnest of margins.
Does he really get out of it? This would be fantastic to see. Like, with so few resources, he knows that he's there. Like, both players know that Cameron, like, if he doesn't deploy another ring, which I don't even know if he has any copies left in his deck.
Okay, so here's the cool thing. He has an Emrakul in the sideboard. So maybe that's how he's gonna try to take the win. The thing is, though, like, Cole is also not threatening a kill here, right? So I think Cameron, if he deploys a bunch of stuff that allows him to win the following turn, is actually kind of safe to just, like, go off past the turn and then win on the following turn. But if he actually brought in the Emrakul that he has in the sideboard, maybe that's just, like, his way to win here. We see none of the otherwise present win conditions that we see in this deck. It's just gonna be straight up random Masticore beats or Emrakul, or completely take over the game with Mikus and Lattice. I think that's also another fine way to go about it. But yeah, Cameron is laughing live right now.
Okay, so we gotta figure out like what's the... Do we need a storm count? Or we probably need a storm count. Like what's the mana like?
I don't know if there's gonna be like any kind of, like, you only really want the mana. But the storm doesn't really matter. There's no storm spells in there. But you do wanna even, like, you could even, like, win the game with Walking Ballista. Actually, that's one way to do it. If you get enough mana, which the deck is very capable of producing, you just find one of your 4 Karns, get Walking Ballista, and end the game on the spot. I think that might actually be what's happening here.
Good point. Yeah.
Because at this point, unless Cameron has like 20 lands on the top of a stack, and I think he could literally have 20 lands on top of a stack, he still wouldn't lose. The One Ring is just like, once it goes off with one of your 7 keys and Paradox Engine, it's so broken. Cole had Cole put up a good fight, right? We saw the Collector Hoof, we saw the Force of Rigas, we saw the Assassin Trophies. He missed that one window where he could have taken down the Karn through the One Ring, as you mentioned, and that could have actually made the difference.
Oh my goodness, and there it is. What an insane game number 3. Congratulations. That was peak. That was almost like vintage. That was basically vintage action here.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's what it feels
goodness.
like, right? Cameron Wisniewski moving on to 5-0, halfway there to the top 8, still a very far way to go. Maybe we see him later today, maybe even tomorrow. But for now, that's it from Kai and me. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Tell all of your friends, literally call them up, send them an email if you'd still do that. Let them know about this tournament going on. Send them over to Twitch TV/CardTitan. Tell them about the 4 more rounds of Legacy that are about to come today. 5 rounds total tomorrow with 2 more Swiss rounds, 3 rounds in top 8. The biggest Legacy tournament in at least 4 years. And you're here to watch it. Thank you so much for tuning into all of this. We'll be soon back with another commentary team. We got Noah Walker and Riley Knight. Super excited to watch that. And the biggest decision I will have to make for the rest of the day is, do I watch it on my TV or do I watch it on my monitor screen? Super pumped. Ready to join everybody in chat, nerding out over Legacy. Thank you so much. Love this, and see you tomorrow, everybody. And now, stay tuned for Kyle and Noah to jump into this. For Riley and Noah to jump into this, dude. I'm still thinking about Kyle with this amazing transformation in the Luren deck, dude. I'm going to dream about that. Everybody, thank you so much. And my name is Julian. This is Kaiser Atari. See you again soon.